Hey everybody, it's Leon. Just checking in with a quick ministry update here. It's been a pretty busy time since the last update I gave. The spring's been a lot of things going on. Over the last 2 months, um, I've had the fortunate pleasure really of introducing three new faith community leaders to what we call the dynamic adventure, and particularly the first two of the six dynamics that Communitas North America uses in launching and starting faith communities that love like Jesus. And they're embedding and initiating. And even though we don't really have a formula or a prescribed path that we tell people to follow in starting a missional faith community, um, these two really are fundamental and crucial. These first two dynamics are really essential in connecting well with the local setting and maintaining a good outward focus, even as faith community grows. We teach people to embed their lives in the neighborhood and everyday spaces as a quiet, intentional, enriching presence. And out of that embedding and good at and doing embedding well, we encourage them to take small and faithful steps to sow the gospel with clarity and compassion, and not with pressure, but with prayer and presence and letting Jesus draw people to himself. And we're not only teaching this, but we're living it out as well here in our new setting, in the St. Cloud metro area, and specifically here in Sauk Rapids. And as we use this intentionally slow process to listen to our community, and others that Jesus is connecting us with, and the Holy Spirit, we discern what practices are best suited for to make the good news of Jesus known to fully known to those around us, and represent the ways of his kingdom well in the community. And that's kind of what all these, we've talked in the past about our neighborhood fires, the board game nights we're doing, and sometimes just spending time in public spaces. They're all part of that discerning process and learning what steps we should be taking in ministry. And we've been taking our time to determine, what form of ministry works best and what we're best suited for in this setting, instead of trying to just duplicate what we've done past in the past elsewhere. And also, as we've been doing this, I've been processing some of the principles I've been picking up from a book by Hugh Halter and Taylor McBride called Brave Cities, um, which just is helping me discern what the future expression ministry may look like here in the St. Cloud area. And just in summary, a Brave City is a network of intentional households like what we are doing here at our house, and various convergent spaces, places where people gather. And it's where people steward well what God's given them and what God has put in their hands, to form a city within a city, kind of like a city within a city that seeks to be, bring positive change to the city around it and the community around it, and to meet needs where uh, people are being missed. This is often, accomplished through a networking with others, and looking at how we can interact with each other as equals and not necessarily as one trying to impose their will upon another, but how do we build each other up instead of just our own ministries? And it's interesting because as I've been processing this, God's been opening up some opportunities to connect with other missionally minded people that live here in the area and who have similar passions for care for the marginalized, and for making positive changes in the community. And some of this has happened. I'm going to share a picture here, of a young man I've been mentoring, and some of this has been happening through my relationship with David, this young man who is um, I have been mentoring, and He just has been really, he's connected with a lot of nonprofit leaders here, knows a lot of people, and he's just kind of like going, hey, maybe you could connect with this person. So opportunities have just kind of happened as we'll meet in a coffee shop and be talking through a book together. One time we were just sitting in a coffee shop and somebody wandered in that he knew, and I interacted, talked with him. As I talked with him, I knew a little bit about the work that him and his wife were doing. And then the funny part was a teacher that I have met through sub-teaching in one of our local schools walked in to meet with that same person that David had introduced me to there at the coffee shop. And it's just things like that that are starting to happen where we're seeing God begin to pull together a network of like-minded people. And we don't know what it's all going to look like in the future, but there are definitely some things that we see potentially happening with this. And as we do this, as we continue to discern, we're continuing to invite people to our home as an intentional home here in the community that's seeking to live the life of Jesus and share the life of Jesus through our life here at our house. And and we're praying about maybe some possibilities for a converging space, which would be a gathering place that we would bring people together around something that has commonly been a connecting place for us. In some ways, the community education work that we were doing was kind of a converging space, an early effort at a converging space. And we're just seeing what other things might happen with that. So really, we're just seeing some exciting developments with what's happening here locally. I'm seeing some great opportunities with the people that I've been able to mentor throughout the U.S. as part of my role with Communitas North America. And really, your prayer and your support um, is, crucial as we kind of discern through each step of the process and what we are doing. So we appreciate that. God bless. Have a great evening.